In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental.
People are alleging this. Rihanna is a key material witness into this whole trafficking scheme or plot or whatever that Roc Nation and Jay-Z himself have been carrying out.
And 8052, shooting just occurred. Approximately 10 shots heard and an unknown person shouting code 3 incident 1920 RD 809 semi-traditional.
Guys, things are getting very scary because people have now put together that both Rihanna and Nicki Minaj's homes in California have both been targeted recently.
Most people heard the headline and kept scrolling, but if you slow this story down and actually look at what happened, the timeline starts getting strange very quickly. Late one night in Beverly Hills, police scanners suddenly started reporting gunfire outside the home of global superstar Rihanna, and within minutes, social media exploded with a claim that sounded almost unreal. A woman had allegedly driven up to Rihanna's mansion and fired multiple rounds at the front gate while Rihanna and her children were inside the property. Nobody was hurt, but the moment the news broke, people online immediately started asking the same question: was this really just a random fan attack, or was there something deeper going on behind the scenes? Before we break down the timeline people started uncovering, make sure you hit like and subscribe, because the deeper this story goes, the more twists start appearing. And some of the connections people noticed have the internet seriously questioning the official explanation.
Listen, Rihanna, when you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to kill me. Shut the up, okay? Shut the up. Yeah, she's a witch. She's a witch. I'm a watchman. She's a witch. Get that stupid girl out of here. Okay? They can't do this. They can't do this.
At first, the narrative seemed simple. Authorities suggested the suspect was likely a disturbed fan who had developed an unhealthy obsession with Rihanna. Situations like that unfortunately happen to celebrities all the time. Once someone reaches Rihanna's level of fame, security threats become a constant reality. But almost immediately, the internet started slowing the story down and looking at the details, and the first thing that caught people's attention was the suspect's journey. Reports suggested the woman had traveled a long distance before arriving at Rihanna's property, and according to information circulating online, she allegedly arrived driving a Tesla. That detail alone made people pause, because someone having the resources to travel across the country in a luxury vehicle doesn't exactly match the usual profile of a random, unstable fan suddenly snapping.
Saying that everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup is. In business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And they had some people from your city do it.
LAPD taking over the street where were fired at singer Rihanna's home Sunday afternoon. You can see the bullet holes on the gates, and investigators placing markers on an Airstream trailer parked inside. Police say the shots came from an AR-15.
Then there was the weapon. Early reports claimed an AR-15 style rifle was used, and that somewhere between 7 and 10 rounds were fired toward the property. But here's the detail that immediately caught people's attention. The shots reportedly hit the front gate, not the house, not the windows, the gate. And that's when the internet started asking a very different question. If the goal was truly to harm Rihanna, why fire at the gate instead of trying to enter the property? Some people began wondering whether the shots were meant to send a message rather than cause injury, and that's where the situation started getting even more complicated. While people were still trying to figure out the basic timeline, another strange detail started circulating online. According to reports being shared on social media, the alleged suspect had previously been involved in a legal dispute connected to the massive entertainment company Live Nation. On its own, that might not mean much, but the internet quickly connected another dot. Rihanna's career has long been closely tied to Roc Nation, the entertainment company founded by Jay-Z, and Roc Nation has partnered with Live Nation on some of the biggest touring deals in the music industry for years. Suddenly, the story didn't just look like a random fan incident anymore, at least not to the online investigators, who immediately began mapping out the connections.
Same songs here, we same artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief. But then he said something about a window and a door or something. Oh, then he said, he said it one more. I did a lot of homework on you this lady. He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal sign or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So when Rihanna was 16 years old, she flew across country, had a meeting with Jay-Z, where he told her there's only two ways out of here, and that's through that door with the deal signed, or through the window, and we're on the 29th floor. And she was 16 years old. I don't really see the humor in that.
Dad, I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she want to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She'd like to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Definitely a strong sense of ego here, which could be in fact rooted by other things, which is probably why Jaguar Wright said, when are we gonna come to the fact that Rihanna was the T word? Traffic.
Some people speculated that the suspect may have believed Rihanna was somehow connected to her legal grievances. Others suggested something even stranger, wondering whether the woman might have been influenced or manipulated in some way. None of those theories have been confirmed, but once the internet starts pulling on threads like that, the conversation tends to move very quickly. And then another confusing detail appeared that only added fuel to the speculation. Early news coverage suggested the suspect's bail had been set at more than $10 million, but later reports from court filings indicated the number was significantly lower, closer to around $2 million. Now, bail adjustments can happen for normal legal reasons, especially after a suspect appears before a judge, but to people watching the story unfold online, the sudden change raised eyebrows. Why such a massive difference in the numbers? Was the first number reported incorrectly, or did something about the case shift behind the scenes within hours of the arrest? Around the same time those questions started spreading, another name suddenly began trending again across social media. Comedian and industry critic Katt Williams. Not because he commented on the incident directly, but because people began resurfacing old interviews where he talked about the darker side of the entertainment industry. In several of those conversations, Katt argued that when shocking events happen around major artists, the public often focuses on the wrong person. According to him, the individual in the headline isn't always the real story. Sometimes the bigger question is who benefits from the chaos that follows. His theory has always been that the music industry is built around massive contracts, ownership rights, and billions of dollars in revenue, meaning dramatic events involving major artists can shift power and money in ways the public never sees.
That's why you got Rihanna over there all jealous, because how am I, because her faith is the devil. Rihanna's faith is the devil, okay? I don't like her, and she's always trying to steal from me, and she has not ever put out any music to reach people. She only did her little music thing so that she can do witchcraft and so that she can steal from people. So everybody, please don't listen to her, don't follow her, don't give that girl any air, space, or time, because she's stealing from you.
Now, to be clear, Katt wasn't talking about this exact situation when those comments were originally made. But once the shooting at Rihanna's house happened, people online started applying his theory to the timeline anyway. Because Rihanna isn't just another celebrity. Over the years, she has become one of the most influential figures in entertainment. Her music career alone helped define an entire era of pop culture. But beyond music, she built a global business empire spanning fashion, beauty, and branding. that level of influence means any incident involving her instantly becomes international news. And when someone that powerful becomes the target of violence, even if nobody is injured, the ripple effects go far beyond a simple police report. At the same time, investigators usually approach cases like this with a much simpler explanation. Many celebrity security incidents involve individuals who develop intense parasocial relationships with public figures. Those situations can escalate unpredictably, especially when mental health struggles are involved. In many past cases involving celebrities, the suspect truly did act alone without anyone pulling strings behind the scenes. But even with that explanation, several details in this case still leave people wondering. How did the suspect know exactly where Rihanna's property was located? What motivated someone to travel such a long distance before arriving there? And perhaps the strangest question of all, why fire multiple rounds at the gate instead of attempting to enter the property if the goal was truly to harm someone? Those are questions investigators will likely explore as the legal process moves forward, but until more information comes out, the speculation isn't likely to slow down. Because the moment those shots were fired outside Rihanna's home, the conversation stopped being just about the woman who allegedly pulled the trigger. Instead, it turned into something much bigger, a debate about power, influence, and the unseen forces people believe operate behind the scenes of the entertainment industry. Some believe the situation is exactly what authorities say it is, a troubled individual acting alone. Others believe there may be deeper layers to the story that haven't surfaced yet. But either way, one thing is certain, the story didn't end the night those shots were fired. And that's the part of this story that people online can't stop coming back to. Because if this really was just a random act by a disturbed fan, then it should have ended the moment the suspect was arrested. But instead, every new detail that surfaced seemed to create even more questions. People started looking closer at the timeline, the travel, the resources involved, and the strange way the shots were fired. None of those details prove anything on their own, but together, they created the kind of mystery that the internet refuses to ignore. And the moment clips of Katt Williams resurfaced, talking about how the entertainment industry protects its power structures, the speculation only intensified. Because whether you agree with his theories or not, one thing is undeniable. The music industry is a business worth billions, and when that much money and influence is involved, fans naturally start wondering if the full story is ever really told to the public. Meanwhile, Rihanna has remained silent about the entire situation, focusing instead on her family and her businesses, which has only added to the curiosity surrounding the case. Because sometimes, when a story goes quiet this quickly, it doesn't necessarily mean the mystery is over. Sometimes, it just means the real answers haven't surfaced yet. And until they do, the same question will keep circulating online. If this wasn't truly random, then who really pointed her toward that house in the first place?